We're talking about Wednesday, March 25th. Our warm-up starts with an iron cross stretch. We're going to do 1 minute on each side there, and then 2 to 3 times through, depending on how you're feeling, 10 seated hip rotations, 10 Spiderman steps, that's 5 on each side, 10 pause squats, and 10 good mornings. You know that you are warm when you're a little hot, a little sweaty, your heart rate is a little up. So if you go 2 times through and you're like, that was pretty easy, you owe yourself 1 more round. All right, starting our warm-up with an iron cross stretch, loosening up your lower back and hips. Find some room, lay on back, ideally arms out to your side, so you need a little bit of space for this. Lift one leg up, reach over as far as you can, but I want you to keep this opposite shoulder on the ground to the best of your ability. You can totally bend your knee to make that happen. A straight leg will be a bigger stretch, but again, I want that shoulder on the ground. The closer you can bring this foot to this hand, the more of a stretch it will be. Don't win the warm-up here. We're gonna get a minute per side of this stretch. So if you're 10 seconds in and gritting your teeth, you're going too hard. Bend that knee, back out a little bit, let things loosen up, keep breathing nice and deep, 1 minute per side. Continuing with the warm-up, seated hip rotations. You're gonna join me in this figure 4 stance. So sitting on the ground, 1 foot pointed behind you, other foot is going to come up and meet your thigh, both knees pointing in the same direction, as tall as you're able to stay. Knees rotate over your ankles and you end up facing the other direction. Nice and tall, the other direction. If this is tough, lean back, let your arms take some of the load. Still, knees over your ankles. Notice my feet don't move in either version of this. 5 one way, 5 the other way, 10 all together. Moving on to Spiderman steps. Spiderman steps starts with a big lunge forward. Both hands come down on the inside of that foot and we're pressing your hip toward the ground. Take a couple of seconds here and really feel that big stretch. Up, right back to neutral. Down on the other side, pressing your hip toward the ground. 5 one way, 5 the other. Take a couple of seconds in the bottom of each step to really open that hip up for 10 steps altogether. Next part of the warm-up, pause squats, just what it sounds like, I think. Down to the bottom of a squat, wait, let's call it a 2-second pause, up as fast as you can. Nice and tall, still, heel stay on the ground, knee over your toe, chest nice and tall, pause for 2 seconds, up fast, do it once without punching your microphone, pause, up fast. 10 pause squats. Last part of our warm-up circuit is good mornings. We're gonna do 10. I prefer to do these with my hands resting on the back of my head. No particular reason. It's a big hamstring and hip stretch we're looking for. So slight bending your knee, that's as much as your knees bend. Drive your hips back as low as you can get and keep that lower back strong. If you start getting any bending, any softness, your good morning is done. Come up tall and strong. You don't have to put your hands up. You could certainly just dip, reach, 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 big stretch, up nice and fast. This should be a really significant stretch in the back of your legs, those hamstrings. 10 slow good mornings. Talking about the Metcon for Wednesday, 25-minute EMOM. That is every minute on the minute, EMOM, you're going to accomplish 1 task. Starts with 15 bag hang cleans. You could use any odd object for this, but we're going to demonstrate it with a bag. Rest the remainder of the minute. Almost all of these should have rest built in. Second minute, 12 front squats. Third minute, 9 thrusters. Fourth minute, as many sit-ups as you can do in that minute. Because of that, your 5th minute is rest. 25 minutes, that means 5 times through this Metcon. Talking about today's Metcon, we have a 25-minute EMOM. The first minute, station number 1, is a bag hang clean. You could certainly do this with almost any object or objects. If you have a pair of dumbbells, etc., something like that, you could do hang cleans here. We're using our trusty book bag. I believe I still have a bottle of, world's best bleach right in there. A full bottle. Just stuffing that in the bag, keeping it closed. Whichever object you're using, make sure whatever inside it is secured, lids are on nice and tight. You don't have keys or straps that are gonna whack you in the face. Hang clean, we're gonna hold that object securely on each side, dip back, sort of the beginning of that good morning we did in the warm-up. I want that object to stop above your knees. So we are not going all the way to the ground. We're gonna drop down here in slow motion, explode through your hips, pull under that object, catch it at the bottom of a squat. In real time, it's hang, clean. Hang, clean. Remember, as you explode, I want your elbows to move under so you can support it on the way up. 15 is sort of a lot. You don't need a super heavy weight for this. I also want you to use the same load for everything we're doing today. First minute is 15 hang cleans. Second minute of this EMOM, so 15 cleans, rest the remainder of that minute. Second station is 12 front squats. The front squat position is exactly where you caught that clean. Up nice and tall against your chest. Make sure you're not out here. We're also not down here. Right against your chest, elbows underneath that object or objects. Nice and low, up tall. Nice and low, up tall. 12, ideally you have at least 10 or 15 seconds of rest here. If it feels easy, hang tight. The third and fourth round is gonna get hard. 12 front squats. Third station, a progression of where we were going, 9 thrusters. So we're sort of combining the clean and the front squat a little bit, plus an overhead component. So a thruster, we will start in that same front squat position, that same position you caught your clean in, our front rack as it were with an object, down to the bottom of a squat. From here, accelerate on the way up, all the way overhead. So finishing, arms locked out, knees locked out, hips open. Make sure you're not leaving that object out here. This is almost a thruster. You probably shouldn't be able to see the object you have overhead when it is overhead. So down and up, down and up, 9 times. Fourth station of our EMOM and the last movement, because remember the 5th station is rest, is AMRAP sit-ups. As many reps as possible of sit-ups. With no equipment, soles of your feet touching each other, all the way down to the bottom, shoulders touch the ground, all the way up, shoulders over your hips. If you're more comfortable, feet flat on the ground, you could do this. You could also anchor your toes under a chair, couch, something like that. Oops, sat on my lap again. Remember to move your microphone, kids. Tuck those toes under your couch, down, pull hard against the object, right back up again. If these are easy, if you're a sit-up ninja, you could potentially use that same load we've been working with to turn these into loaded sit-ups. Now, I don't want you to do this if you can only get 5 loaded sit-ups, but if you're cranking out, let's say, 25 or more sit-ups in a minute, let's make it a little bit heavier. 2 versions of this. You could have your object, I'm gonna fold my bag up here. You could tap the ground over your head, come back up again, or slightly harder, and you may not think it would be, hold it against your chest, touch the ground, oh, right back up again. As many as you can in 1 minute. Remember that 5th minute is rest, so you have the entire minute to get work done here. This is the only station where you shouldn't have any built-in rest around your movements. 25 minutes worth, that's 5 rounds. Have fun. Our finisher for Wednesday, a big deep stretch here. Try and relax, get your heart rate back down. Starts with 10 yoga push-ups. I want to do these as slowly as you're able. Really high quality work here. Into 1 minute on each side of a couch stretch. You might also know it as a wall quad stretch. We'll show you what that looks like. Finishing 1 minute per side of a figure 4, opening up your lower back, opening up your hips, getting ready to face the rest of the day. Or we're talking about Wednesday's finisher. This is a lot of deep stretching, cooling down. Begins with 10 slow yoga push-ups. So in this straddle plank, first step, drive your head through your arms, heels into the ground, and hang out here for a minute. Stretch both legs, little steps, letting this be a shoulder stretch as well as an Achilles stretch. Swoop on through for a big back extension, pressing your hips toward the ground and relax. Give yourself a little side to side rock here, and then that was 1, right back into it. Back and forth nice and slowly for 10 slow yoga push-ups. Next part, we have a couch to demonstrate the couch stretch. I'll show you 2 versions of this. 1, we're gonna step on back, assuming a couch, chair, raised padded surface. You're gonna put the back of your foot up on that, what is this? Backrest on the back, knee on the cushion, foot out in front of you. The closer you bring your knee to that upright, the more of a stretch you will feel here. We're looking for an open hip angle, chest nice and tall. So if I get in here, I can't quite sit up straight without like really killing myself. I'm gonna move my knee out an inch. That feels great. Squeeze your butt really hard, straight angle, shoulder over your hip, over your knee for 1 minute. You could potentially do this on the ground or with a wall if for some reason you don't have access to a couch. Down on the ground, same idea. Knee on the ground, toe on something behind you. This could absolutely be a flat wall. Foot out in front of you, nice and tall, still opening that hip angle, 1 minute on each side. Last part of the finisher in my impromptu living room here, a figure 4 stretch. So lying on your back, we're going to raise one knee to 90 degrees, take your other ankle and place it right on that knee. Both hands reach up and through. Grab the back of your thigh, cross your fingers, and pull. Relax your head on the ground. Try and pull your tailbone slightly off the ground. This should be a big stretch. On this side, same setup, ankle to knee, reach through, head on the ground, and pull. Opening up that lower back, opening up your QL. 1 minute on each side. Should be about a 5-minute cool down finisher.